said, now all you vinyl varmints, all you record collecting crew, if I got a box of records for you, have I got a box of records for you? Well, the blues harmonica is very appropriate today, as today's show, episode number 27, is the deep blues. And good morning to you, Shadow Man.
Good morning to you, Alec Daddy. Good to see you. It's a hot, muggy day in the little city here of Park Oberlin.
As the translation said.
Yeah, I gotta love it.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad today.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're going to do a blues show. Hopefully get some interesting samples of the genre. Yes, as I said, today's show is number 27. We Three Kings. I just talked to you about that.
Yeah.
We used to haul out these Christmas carol books every year at school, and everybody always requested number 27 because it's We Three Kings. So you could say We Three Kings of R&R trying to smoke a rubber cigar. Yeah, it was loaded, it exploded. Anyway, always covering the mature, up-to-date content on Box of Records.
I think the Pope's on the line.
Yes. Shall we shove off?
Let's do it.
Oh, this, if I can lift this with one hand, because it is a heavy, thick record here. Little Walter. Now this is beautiful. This is an original chess record. I bought this over in Buffalo. I don't know who had it originally. It's in playable shape, but this is the one that I have that's not a compilation. It was a current Little Walter album. Now, liner notes on the back still refer to it as like a division of jazz, and the liner notes are very formal by someone named Studs Terkel, who's was a sports writer, I believe, right?
You're asking me, Mr. Sports?
I don't know. I've
heard the name, but I don't know.
Me.
Excuse me.
You gotta turn the light on over there?
Yeah. Nothing like being prepared is live. Boy, that makes a big difference, I guess.
Ah.
Sorry. Excuse me.
Oh, it's in color. Yeah.
There you go.
It was Little Walter. Okay. Chicago harmonica player, of course. One of the famous, could have maybe been one of the Mount Rushmore of bluesmen.
It's on the chest plate.
What a harp player too. And then laid down the basis for the Rolling Stones and the Pretty Things. But I think most people know about this stuff very much. But I'm going to just show some of what I picked this up now. This is pretty chewy. Lightning Hopkins. Okay, and what is this on? Tradition Records. Yeah, and this is a pretty old one. And I think it's just some kind of cheap label. And again, really extensive, serious liner notes about the blues and everything. But very cool. Lightning Hopkins from Texas, I believe. Great guitar player.
That's not a gatefold, is it?
No, it's coming
down.
apart.
Yeah.
It replicates a gatefold. Okay. The reason I still have the plastics on some of these is because of the delicate condition. Now this is a Johnny Guitar Watson on King. This is a great album. And this is an original one too. Johnny Guitar Watson did stuff for years. Played with Zappa later on in his career. But, and this, I would say, the stuff that certainly influenced Zappa in his guitar playing too. Johnny Guitar Watson on King. King out of Cincinnati. Last week when we did our show with Charlie Feathers, he was on King. Now, Big Joe Williams. I bought this when I was a teenager in Toronto. Sam the Record Man's upstairs. Basically for the cover, but I had heard the name, and he played a 9-string guitar. If you can see a picture of it a little clearer, the headstock, it's got an extra set of tuners put on it, and the middle 3 strings are just kind of doubled up like a 12-string. A very odd tuning, but it makes it sound very unique. And this is recorded like 1960 in his home. Very cool. On R. Hooley Records, which still exist. I mean, you know, they've got an Instagram page and everything for R. Hooley. But great records. Again, heavy, heavy, heavy plastic. Vinyl. Sorry. Okay. This is a series of Holland Wolf records I was fortunate enough to pick up. This is a picture. Him and Hubert Sumlin on the back. Change My Way. The Holland Wolf.
Very nice.
Of course, Rolling Stones had him on Shindig. Everybody knows him from that history. He did the original Little Red Rooster. Continued the Charlie Patton kind of style, who he knew as a kid. I think Sonny Boy Williamson was his brother-in-law. So the Wolf, he was and the early stuff was recorded at at Sun Records and released on Chess. But this is a great collection. This is like 1970 collection. Chess sold out to GRT, which was a tape company in the mid-60s, and eventually in the early 70s quit recording at Chess and just relied on their catalog. But this is some of the first comps that you could get. As is this, Holland Wolf, Evil. Well, you know, all 50s and 60s stuff. Although I think this has like Ride My Pony, and the first ones were like late 40s.
Ride My Pony.
Saddle Up My Brown Mare.
Yeah.
And another one, Going Back Home. Now,
I like that
the
cover.
reason that I know about a lot of people like bluesmen and Charlie Feathers is, of course, reading about them. And there was a book by a man named Peter Gurlnick, who's written a lot of stuff, I hope I'm saying his name right, called Feel Like Going Home. And it had the first stories I read about Charlie Feathers and some different bluesmen and everything. But probably from the late 70s, there was a really, some beautiful blues writing started. And of course, there's always exceptions to, there was earlier stuff. Later on, JRT released, this was the kind of stuff that got released later on. Muddy and the Wolf, they're both half-sides. The Muddy stuff's with Bloomfield and Paul Butterfield and...
Yeah, you can see that line
yeah.
up the bottom there. Clapham, Winwood, Wyman,
and the Wolf
Charlie.
stuff is from half of the London Holland Wolf sessions with Bill and Charlie and Eric Clapton and Stevie Winwood.
You were saying earlier that Charlie's not going on tour this time.
No, Charlie is not going to be going on this tour with the Rolling Stones. Steve Jordan's going to be playing, who was in the Expensive Winos with Keith's band, but Charlie's had some kind of medical procedure and needs to rest. So, yeah, seeing the Stones without Charlie, but hey, wish him the best. If they make it to next February, 60 years.
Here's to you, Charlie. What's today's poison of choice?
Today, this is some juju root. Yes, and I thought it would be appropriate.
You got it.
Steamed in some...
Keep it healthy too,
yes,
I bet.
boiled in some bourbon, yes, just to purify. I brought this because I think this is an example of how a lot of times, you know, if you love these guys, what you generally listen to is the original stuff. But this is one case, I think, where this was in the late 70s, where they got together with Johnny Winter and some new people and really pulled off an excellent album, This Heart Again. A great sounding, loud album. Cross-Eyed Cat. And this was, I remember seeing them, this configuration on Mike Douglas.
Mike?
It was a variety show. They used to be on the afternoons.
Right after high school.
Right after high school. And there's Johnny Winter and Muddy Waters, and Mike's trying to think of what to ask them.
Yeah.
This album here, now Robert Johnson, everybody knows about Robert Johnson, but when he was actually out, he did 2 recording sessions while he was alive. 2 long recording sessions in Dallas, I believe. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But they only put out 4 78s of his. Terraplane Blues was his biggest hit, if you could call that, and what they used to call the Race Records division. But in 1959, this album came out, and what it was is, well, they didn't have the tapes, they were discs back then, they were cut on discs, and they released this, which has about a dozen songs on it, which, you know, Crossroads is on here, and Sweet Home Chicago, and a lot of people learn them, like, they got to be real standards off of this. And as I say, this was 59, this was like a very influential album for people. Just lately, I'm sorry.
No, you were
No,
just getting to what I was going to ask. You were saying lately
Lately, they have corrected the speed on some Robert Johnson, on all of the recordings, and you can get them, like, I don't have the discs or anything, I listened to some of it on YouTube. Yeah, and it's, I guess it was cut a little fast or something, because it does sound a little subtly different, you know? Subtly? Subtly? But anyway, in 1969, this was volume 2 of what they had left. And I remember the way they advertised this. I love that cover.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah, it looks like 1969 when it was out there backward looking in the 30s. But how they advertise this is it contained the original Love in Vain, which the Rolling Stones had just put out on Let It Bleed. So that caught my attention.
And it's on the Columbia label.
You know, so I had this when I was like 14 or 15. It took me a while to get used to it. At first, everything sounded the same to me, and I thought, wow, this must be as far back as you can go. But of course it wasn't. There's a lot of people before him. He streamlined an older type of blues, you know? He was the young man of his day. Got a great back cover that shows the guys recording it in the other room. A lot of that type of artwork in these re-releases. And a big fascination with the 30s. Fabulous stuff. Okay, and I thought I'd bring this along because, again, something else I bought as a teenager for the cover. Now this is this guy Leonard Feather. He was like a rock critic, old curmudgeon, wrote for Downbeat and everything. But this has the 20s and the 30s, and I love those pictures on the front. Seems to really encapsulate the look of both of these. Now this is mostly jazz. I would say that 90% of it is jazz, but the reason I bought this is because the last song on one of the sides is by Sister Rosetta Tharpe. A great singer, and what a guitar player. And it just blew me away, this one song, and made, of course, me want to investigate further. And that's what it's all about with these records, making you investigate further. Or listening to Rolling Stones songs and saying, okay, these are cover versions. I wonder who did the original. And just in the last few years, I got to hear the original It's All Over Now by the Womack Brothers. The Stones did it. Because we were talking about Murray the K-Lane on that before.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Well, we're going to do a part 2. We got another, because I was selecting just the blues albums I have. I'll have a little slightly different take on it next time. And this
Probably
is
next,
just
next Sunday then? Probably next Sunday?
I hope so.
Yeah, I plan to be here. Oh, cheers everybody.
Cheers,
Hello,
everybody.
vinyl community, everybody out there.
What the fun.
Yeah, let's hope it's not what the fun later on. Because, well, it's a long story. Nobody wants to hear my tale of woe. No, I've been trying to get a good video editing software. And I had one until it asked me to update. Well, I can't update it because we live in Canada. I guess that's the only reason. If I lived in the States, I'd be using the video pad. And I went to the Microsoft store, and there it is. I thought maybe to the Microsoft store would be easier, but I hit the same thing. Pick your state and your country. Well, the only country is the United States for some reason. I don't know. It's beyond my tiny little brain, and when I start thinking about it, it'll kick me up.
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Well, the program that is, well, not the program, the software that's on this Acer laptop has Windows video editor, which we used a long time ago and really did not work well at all. But I've tried it again recently, and I guess when you take time to read all the instructions, it works. So.
Well, speaking of taking time, we're taking up too much time with this.
I think we're going to be one
Yes.
video here instead of two, but I think we're prepared. Anybody, you've had your tea.
Okay, cheers everybody. Hope you enjoyed today's show.
That's it, that's all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hasta la vista.
Oh, hasta.
Hasta mañana, amigos.
Vista.